Hey guys, this is Delphine with the CultureQuirk channel. So for me at least, it's almost finals week at school, and on that note, I'd like to give you some tips that can help with Japanese study, but also help with school or just keeping yourself organized. And that is writing stuff down. People say it all the time, but it's really true. If you write down your goals, both short-term and long-term, there's a greater chance that you'll actually do it. So here are some examples of some lists that I use. This one is a list of my long-term goals, and it's hanging in my room so that I see it all the time. The paper's really cute, and I wrote some stuff along the lines of graduate successfully from college, learn Japanese, learn to cook better, exercise regularly, maintain my blog and YouTube, stuff like that. I would recommend that you do this too. Just spend some time to take a step back and really think about what are some of the big things that you want in life. This isn't a checklist. Most of these things I can't really cross out, but having something like this on your wall can really help you to focus on what's important when there are a lot of other things going on. Aside from that, I'm also a huge fan of checklists for just small everyday tasks. This is my planner, and just look at how much stuff I have written down. Sorry about my chicken scratch handwriting. For me, that's the best way to get through a really busy day, to just take a second to write everything down that I have to do and to check them off as I go. Sometimes I put times on there to keep myself organized further, so like have lunch at 1 and then study for a test until 3 and then have a group meeting at 3 and so forth. It helps turn an overwhelmingly busy day into just a concrete set of tasks that you have to just go through and cross out. It helps keep you efficient and motivated. So those are just some basic traditional lists, but I tend to get really creative with new and different ways to get myself really organized and motivated. So I'll be just showing you a few lists that I created for more long-term goals, but goals that can still be accomplished through a series of concrete steps. And I illustrated those steps with the use of progress bars. Here's one I created to help get me to exercise. Now, I mentioned in a different video that I followed the Couch to 5K program to get better at running, and it's a podcast that has 9 different episodes that takes you through the 9 weeks of the program. So I created this sheet to keep me on track. I kind of think of it like a video game, almost an RPG type of thing, which is super nerdy, but it really works. I called it my training, and here are the 9 levels that sort of match up with the 9 weeks of the program, and then for each week you have to listen to the same podcast 3 times before you move on to the next week and the next episode. So I would just use a marker to fill in the bar every time that I ran, and then at the end of the week I would write level up and then move on to the next week. It's really silly, but it seriously worked. I used to hate running, but I still made it through the entire program. Here are a couple of examples of similar things that I did for class. This one's for an online government class that I took. There were 15 lessons where for each I had to do a reading, submit assignments online, and at the end of the course I had to take a final. So up here I have the general progress bar for the whole course and would fill the bar up in red every time I finished a lesson, and then underneath I have smaller progress bars for each individual lesson. I think I divided those up, so for the reading, and then I had 2 or 3 different essay questions. Once I had submitted an assignment, I would color in the little exclamation point in red, along with filling in the next point of the overall progress bar, and that's how I got myself through a really boring class, and it really worked. One last example that I have was for a summer class. Again, here's the progress bar at the top, and this time I divided it all up by time period so that there's different sections for the first, second, and third test. Within each section, I have different progress bars for the textbook chapters, articles, flashcards that I made, and different phases of the test. Again, I would just fill in everything as I went along until I completed the entire course. All of these things were incredibly helpful, and honestly, it made it kind of fun. It does feel really silly to, be using markers and correlating my schoolwork with a video game, but as long as this stuff really works, who cares? I always have lots of ideas when it comes to organization and motivation, so I might talk about this stuff again if you guys are interested. So there you have it. Those are some ways that I keep myself motivated by writing stuff down. There are definitely ways for you to use everything that I talked about to help you with your language study, and I use this to study Japanese all the time. So good luck studying for finals. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.